Well, class, we are starting our project for the semester. In semesters past, I have done this with mostly with businesses. Um, and this semester, I want to do something a little bit different, in part because right now, the entrepreneurship program, I'm the director of the entrepreneurship program. We've got to make a couple changes. And because of that, I thought it would be great to get some student marketing input. Um, and so that's what the project is. So I'm going to share my screen here. And here we go. This is our entrepreneurship program website, uh, where you've got the competitions here. Um, so and I'm just giving you this as kind of context to help you understand more specifically um, the issues and kind of thinking around um, the assignment that you have. So, okay, so the first thing is State Bank Business Challenge is one of our competitions. That is one that's open to both community and students. We get a couple students from Snow College, a couple students from Utah State, and several from SUU who enter this competition, and then people from really all over the place, mostly rural Utah, enter this competition. It's a very high profile event. We typically have several hundred people that are in attendance for State Bank Business Challenge, and we have some pretty high profile judges. So this is from last year's event. You can see Governor Cox here with one of our SUU students. Oh, so that's the State Bank Business Challenge. Um, in contrast and that is of course funded by State Bank of Southern Utah, who's a great partner of ours in that event. The next one is Opportunity Quest, and I mentioned Opportunity Quest because that is the competition that you will be renaming, rebranding, and possibly reimagining. So I'll tell you, I mean, you can click on the website and get additional information. So you see here, Opportunity Quest, sponsored by Zions Bank. Zions Bank is continuing to fund this, but they are retiring the name Opportunity Quest. So Zions Bank, what they do is they give a large sum of money to the University of Utah. The University of Utah then disseminates that money to different schools. Different schools have different competitions. Whoever are the two winning students from each school then gets a trip to Salt Lake City, and they compete in the Utah Entrepreneur Challenge. So again, just to repeat to make sure we're clear, Zions Bank gives money to the University of Utah, that gives the money to all of the other universities in the state, winners to hold a competition. The top two winners from each school will automatically qualify for the Utah Entrepreneur Challenge that has some larger prizes. Um, so that is Opportunity Quest. And also, okay, so I'll come back to that in a second, but just so that you have a sense for what all of our competitions are. The S4 competition, this is also um, students only. It is typically quite a small competition, but it has the largest prizes. So the first place prize for the S4 competition is $12,000. So whichever student wins that, it is that's enough to change the trajectory of an early stage business. And initially, the conception was this will be enough money so that students don't have to work over the summer and they can work on their business instead. Turns out in practice, some students would just rather spend the money on uh, items, capital items, could be a printer or whatever it is that they need for their business. You see also here spring art competition. That's not really relevant. We do one event with a specific school or college every semester to get their students interested in entrepreneurship. So coming back to Opportunity Quest, I posted a a survey a little while ago, and you know what? I can probably pause and find that um, so that I can show you the results. But um, yeah, I'm just going to pause that. Voila. Okay, so I had you and another class chime in on this. These are names that we are considering to replace Opportunity Quest. Um, I'll just go. So SUU Entrepreneurship Pitch Event. I just thought, what is the blandest, least interesting name that we can come up with? And that's what it was. And somehow it's doing pretty well. Um, uh, Thunderbird Throwdown, whatever. Uh, I kind of attention getting. Bootstrap Business Bonanza. This is why I wanted to show you these. One of the things that we do differently at the SUU Entrepreneurship Program, the Larry H. and Gail Miller Center for Entrepreneurship, is we what bootstrapping is the idea that to start out with a business, you don't need capital, you don't need resources, you need to be resourceful. So the idea of a bootstrap business is one where you don't get external funding, you fund it yourself, and you are resourceful. And so you typically start quite slowly if you're starting from a bootstrap model. You don't incur debt. You build it one step at a time by being resourceful, and then you take your proceeds and then you roll it back into the business, and then you grow the business that way. That is a bootstrap. That is a bootstrap business, and so that's something that we try to teach and now of course there's a time for capital, but early on we think it's best to be resourceful rather than to go get resources. So Bootstrap Business Bonanza, most people don't know what a bootstrap business is, but and that's maybe why it's got a low vote rate here. But that's the idea of a bootstrap business. And then Thunderbird Cash Dash, just kind of like the alliteration there. You are not bound by these, but I do want to come back to one of the things that is different about Opportunity Quest, or whatever we're going to call it, is we want this one to be, we've done this the last several years, students who enter, any student who has any revenue in their business automatically qualifies for a cash award. Typically we've done $200. So and the reason for that is in part because we've gotten burned in the past where people come in with great ideas, they get a bunch of cash and we never see them again, they never touch the business. And but more to the point, it's that it is easy to come up with business ideas, and it is easy to ask for money and to try to win money, but it is more difficult to actually sell something of your own. And anyone who has taken that step has taken the most difficult step to take in entrepreneurship, that first sale. And so we really want to know who those students are on campus who are actually, or off campus, who are actually selling things. Um, and so that's one of the main ideas of what has previously been called Opportunity Quest, is a cash award for every student who has sold something on their own, right? Whose own business is outside of the idea phase and then the action phase. That's what we have typically used Opportunity Quest for, and that's why in the naming, Bootstrap Business Bonanza was one of the things that we wanted to do, because it acknowledges this approach that we have of trying to encourage students from, well, discourage them from taking funding early on and encourage them to hustle early on and make a sale. So I'm going to pause and gather my thoughts here. All right, so let's look here on your website, or on Canvas at the actual assignment. I like thinking about things in terms of product, price, promotion, place. Of course, that's the marketing mix. this doesn't fit perfectly because it's not something that people will buy, right? They enter the competition rather than purchase something, and hopefully they receive money instead of spending money. But it's still a useful framework in thinking through a product, right? Which in some sense, that's what this event is. Maybe it's somewhere between a product and a service. Um, all of our competitions, we have quite a few judges. The thing that we do in Opportunity Quest, we do this for 2 of our competitions. Um, we have students in small groups. They present to a group of judges in 3 separate rooms, and then they rotate around. So they pitch 3 different times to 3 separate sets of judges. One of the things we like about that is that it makes it less stressful. Each pitch matters a little bit less, which makes it a little bit less stressful. And if you screw one up, it's not the end of everything. Um, Actually, well, I'll tell you a quick story. One of the reasons that we do that is we had a student that had a great idea, got very nervous and did not a very good job presenting his idea, and actually won an award, but was so discouraged by his presentation that he wasn't there. He took off and didn't get his award. And so anyway, it also gives each judge a little bit more of a chance to interact and discuss the pitch with different um, participants. Okay, so the idea or what I'm asking for you to do is to come up with, at a minimum, a name and a kind of unique way of selling this competition to students or promoting it to students. Right? We typically get, I'll say 40 or so, maybe that's high. It's probably closer to 30 students that enter this competition. You think about, you get $200 for selling something. You sell something for $1 and you get $200. It's a pretty good deal. And so I don't know. It seems like this is the kind of thing that students should know about. So, product. What is the competition and how is it unique? What I've kind of outlined is what we've done to this point. You might have a different perspective. You might think there's a different way to do this that would be better. Price. In this case, we'll treat price as budget. So let's say that's you've got a $10,000 budget. How much do you give it as prizes? What's the first place prize? Second, third, right? How many down do you go? How much do you spread it out versus reward the top couple? In this event, in the past, it's been a relatively flat distribution, meaning the difference between the top earner and the like first place and fifth place is not as vast as it could be if you did like put all the money into first, second, third, for example. So we've had relatively flat structure of awards where more people receive winnings than if you did like a really big first place prize, second place, and third place, which is what we do at S4. So and then how much do you think we should give out as prizes, and what amounts? How much would you spend on promotion? So every dollar you spend promoting it is a dollar that students don't get. But if you don't promote it at all, nobody enters the competition. So we've got to think through how much you think should be spent on promotion, and then how to promote it. How do you get it into students' views? Any other use of funds that you could contribute to a good event? And I'll just tell you, we spent some of the funds on a reception. So 45 minutes before the event, we've got judges, we've got students come together, have some snacks, get to know each other a little bit better before the competition begins. That helps to calm nerves, and also could set things up for good interactions later on if there's somebody that wants to invest or wants to support one of these student businesses. Is that a good use of funds? So it's your call in how you propose that we spend that money. Promotion, again, what's the best way to reach students? And think about how to reach them, and then what the advertising should look like. What we've done, we typically get it on Toilet Times. If you're on campus, you know what that is. It's probably what it sounds like. It's a little list of events that happens that are posted in bathrooms, restrooms on campus. We also, we do some physical posters in a couple locations. Could we do better? I think so. You tell us how it should be better, and that's what I want to know. Place. So at this point, to this point, we have done exclusively face to face, and the reason for that is the events are funner when you're face to face than if you've got people zooming in. It's hard to have a really fun event online. So that's been my bias. I understand this class is remote. You might have a different take on this, and so you might have some suggestions for how to include an online component to this, and how to run it, and how that could be fun. I think that's all that I'm thinking of right now. I'm going to pause it and figure out what I'm. Okay, so last thing is how these will be evaluated. Realistically, this is the way all things are evaluated, or at least should be in my mind. Look at whoever did the best. That's 100%. Whatever individual or group has the best project, by my own subjective opinion, and there will be some good ones. Just I know college students. This is a class of 30 something. One of you will do an outstanding job. That's an A. And that is how I will evaluate the other ones. How close to the best project is yours? If you turn in something that is insulting, that is clearly thrown together last second and half-assed, that will not be an A and could be an F. So it is November 6th right now. You'll probably get this November 7th or 8th, let's say. It's due December 2nd. That is plenty of time to come up with something that's really great. And I hope you will. If you have any additional questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer your questions. I definitely want to say this. You can work on this alone or together. Make sure it is super clear to me when you submit your paper or your video. When you submit that, let me know who's in your group if you're not working alone. If you're working alone, I'll need to specify that. I'll assume that you're working alone. I'm going to tweak a little bit the instructions from what it's gone here. So instead of having everybody do a video, I think I'm going to say video preferred, but it's up to you to figure out the best way to submit your project. There might be different ways that you're thinking of. Again, I would say don't put this off to the last second. Try to do a good job, and I will try to be fair in my evaluations. So thanks for your attention, and good luck on your project.